The Your Mark on the World show is made possible by our sponsors, including ACLA Impact, Seed Equity Ventures, and Clean Energy Advisors.
Welcome to Your Mark on the World, bringing you another changemaker with champion of social good, Devin D. Thorpe.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Your Mark on the World show. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe. I'm a Forbes contributor covering social entrepreneurship and impact investing. Our guests today are James Citron, who is the CEO of Pledgeling, and Victor Cho, who is the CEO of Evite. Thank you both for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, our pleasure.
We're thrilled to have you. And James, I apologize for butchering your name. You'll have to tell all your friends how to say your name when we're done. But yeah, we don't want them to be confused. We're thrilled to have you today, and we're excited to talk a little bit about the collaboration that you and your companies have had over the last year and a half or so, as you have developed a way for people to donate as they send out invitations to parties and stuff. Victor, why don't you tell us just a little bit about the collaboration?
Sure. Yeah, so for hopefully most of your and that Evite is an online invitation platform to select a number of guests that you want to attend a party. CPs from them. So that's kind of the standard Evite that everyone has known and loved. And I joined the company about 2.5 years ago, and huge platforms we reach in the US. And one of the first things I wanted to do was start to take Evite into spaces beyond just an invitation. Of thinking, what other value can we add into this experience? We still have you?
Yeah, we're still live. I turned off the cameras because we've got a weak internet connection this morning.
Got it. Great. What other value can we add into that experience to add value for our users? And it's funny, when one of the first things we do when we try to figure that out is we just look at what the users are saying. There was a group of users that absolutely were throwing parties and events for causes, and then they were going through this very convoluted process on the side to try to raise the money. And so that really triggered a thought at a high level of, wow, what if we just embed that functionality within the invitation? Wouldn't that be a value add to our consumers, because they're doing it already off on the side? And for the longest time, we didn't think we would actually find a provider that we could partner with, because we had a very clear proposition that we wanted to deliver, which is we didn't want to charge money for that service. We felt like as much of the money as possible should flow into. We were introduced to a mutual friend, and it turns out there's a company, Pledgeling, that is doing what we need.
That's great. It's really a remarkable collaboration. You've raised over $1 million for charity through this collaboration, so that's certainly exciting to see. James, tell us a little bit about the technology you're using to satisfy this requirement for Evite.
Absolutely. So, I mean, a great partnership is one where you find a CEO and a team that understands that business can be a force for positive change in the world. And obviously, Victor saw this with his customers, and Evite's users are actually trying to raise money with their events every single day. The technology that we built tries to make it as simple as possible for anyone to give back and for any business to give back. Right now on Evite, it takes 30 seconds to pick any of 10,000 different nonprofits, pledge your event to any of those charities, and Pledgeling powers the entire experience, from choosing your favorite charity. So it's your birthday and you want to do something for solar energy. You can pick from hundreds of different nonprofits focused on that cause. And we process all the donations. We give the tax receipts to everyone who gives. And it's totally turnkey and simple. And probably maybe the most important part about it is it all lives embedded in Evite user experience. And this is what I think is core to really businesses getting behind using social impact to both build a great business, but also do good in the world, is you've got to make it easy, you got to make it fun. It also has to feel authentic to the brand. And that's where our technology, aims to make happen and make it seamless.
Well, it's a really great example, I think, of a powerful collaboration, and demonstrates the potential of working together. One of the things that I'm intrigued about, and we didn't get a chance to get into this for the article, was how this is free to the consumer. So, James and Victor, maybe let me put this question to you. James isn't doing this for free. Your customers are getting it for free. What's the model that pays for this? How does this work?
So I'll talk about it from my end, and I can kind of let James talk about it from the Pledgeling business model side. So from Evite's perspective, Evite is at its core, for the vast majority of users, a completely free service. So when you organize a party and send out an RSVP, all of that is for free. Advertising is the lion's share of the revenue model for us. So as people come through, right, okay, they're looking at advertising related to parties, etc. And so what we wanted to do when we added this function was we didn't want to throw up, well, two things. We didn't want to throw up kind of additional bars, additional commerce bars in front. But more importantly, I have a belief that if possible, you as an executive or someone who is in charge of something with scale in the society should try to turn that scale into good if you can. And it was very clear to me in the back of my head that abstractly, there's all these funding platforms that are raising money and taking 5, 8, 10% cut. And abstractly, I thought, that might need to happen for them because that's their core business model. But we Evite, if we're offering this as a feature, we should be able to do that without doing that if we put the right infrastructure into place. So that was the desire to add it in without any economic benefit to us. It really is a pure user value add from our perspective.
That's very cool, very cool. And well, James, talk about your business model for a minute, and then I want to come back and follow up with Victor.
Yep. So the other thing that we've done together through this partnership is it is totally optional when a user chooses they're attending a party and they decide to donate to the party thrower's favorite cause. They can decide to leave a tip for Pledgeling, and that is that's how Pledgeling is benefiting financially from the partnership. So our traditional business model is we license the software because we power all this technology behind the scenes. And sometimes we take a small share on the donations. And obviously in this case with Victor, it's a tip. So it's entirely up to the user. And I think this is one of the really unique things that Victor and Evite have done, which is saying we want to really empower our users to give back. And if they want to help support Pledgeling's mission to empower every business to give back and make it super easy, they can optionally leave a tip for Pledgeling. And we find that users want to do that.
Yeah, it's well, it is great to see that they do it. And Victor, are you seeing that it's helping your business? That's one of the key things that we'd like to see come from this result, is that you make more money.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's to the extent that we can add more value-added features and functions that make the service more viable, that can be a good thing. It's actually very hard to track all the way down to a very specific feature, kind of the general impact of adding kind of a point feature like that. The things like we can say is we absolutely have a ton of people using it. Since we generated over $1 million in donations, and our next million is going to come way faster. So the pace of donation is accelerating on a pretty substantial clip. So that would give you an indicator that people are using it, they're liking it, other people are seeing it. Because we don't have a ton of outbound marketing in our business. It's really the viral nature of the experience that drives it. So the fact that we are seeing an acceleration of uptake to me says absolutely it's resonating with people when they're recipients of it, and then they're using it for their events. I couldn't give you an exact number, unfortunately. Yeah, that would be one. And then the second anecdote that I could give that it is helping, although it's part of just a broader improvement push for us, is we use something called Net Promoter within our business to measure the customer experience, which is it's just a measure of customer satisfaction and whether you'd recommend the service for someone else. And I'm super hardcore around that as a core metric for the business. And that, from our perspective, has been basically increasing over the last couple of years on a really steady clip. So we're up now where we have a net promoter score, which is close to 80, sometimes over 80, which is in the realm of like an Apple iPhone or Amazon.
Wow, that's fantastic. And you associate that high score with, at least in part, having this feature added. That's it's enhanced.
Absolutely. It's continuing to add functions and features that the users are asking for, and also things that delight the customer. One of the most common things we get when people go through, they're like, "Oh my God, I didn't realize." It's not that they saw it from another party. It's just they're going through the flow, and it's just right there. Would you like to add a donation? And they're like, "Oh my God, it's so easy. I didn't know this was available." So
yeah. Well, let me just switch gears with James a little bit. James, I'm curious if you can tell us about the experience of nonprofits. It seems to me that they are, in some ways, passive recipients or passive participants in this process, but they've got to love it the most. How do you interact with them, and how do they participate? And is there an active way for them to be involved?
Yeah, great question. So obviously they're beneficiaries of this, of the goodwill of millions of Evite, attendees and hosts, and they absolutely love it. I mean, we get feedback on a daily and sometimes a weekly basis. That's, oh my gosh, I just got a $50,000 check. I didn't even know where this came from. Thank you, thank you. We had one anecdote. A nonprofit said, through Evite donations, I raised enough money to help 5 AIDS orphans get food and schooling for an entire year. So, we hear these impact stories from the nonprofit community who absolutely love the power of this partnership, but they can actually be much more active than just being passive recipients. So we've had a bunch of nonprofits actually go, you know what, this is a great way for us actually to throw our own events. So instead of volunteers just sending out emails or Outlook calendar invites, what if we actually use Evite to plan our own parties? What if nonprofit, whether you're an employee, a host, what if you use Evite for your own events? And I think one of the fascinating byproducts of just talking to nonprofits who are starting to use Evite to plan all of their events is that typically, in the nonprofit community lives and dies, unfortunately, based to some extent on the charity galas. When you use Evite and Evite donations powered by PledgeLink, you can capture donations from folks who don't even attend the gala. Because literally it's one click in that Evite you get to actually donate. And we've been hearing a lot tangentially and real feedback saying, look, when people don't go to our gala, we don't capture $1 from the 50 to 70% of people who just can't come on Saturday night at the big event. But by using Evite, they're actually capturing small donations and really starting to build a relationship with new prospective donors in ways that they didn't have before.
Yeah, powerful, powerful. Well, Victor, you are a role model to a lot of people, but I wonder who you look up to as a role model. Who inspires you?
I'd say it's probably a standard answer from a lot of folks, but I would have to call out my mom as really a big inspiration in my life, and maybe it's the churn that's going through the society right now that makes this particularly salient in my mind. But she was an immigrant from South Korea. She came over to the States after that country was ravaged by war. She went to one of the top schools in Korea, like kind of the equivalent of Harvard in Korea for women. Came here, didn't speak the language, really had a hard time, and it was and lived a very difficult life in the grand scheme of things relative to I think what she could have had in Korea. Really to raise her family. And so I look at that sacrifice and that commitment, and it always amazes me.
That is an inspiring story and a great reminder in today's environment. So I appreciate you sharing that. James, you could be doing a lot of things. You've been very successful as an entrepreneur in the past. You've focused a lot of your career on mobile technology, but this is, I think, the most impactful thing you've done in your career in terms of focusing on the charity side of things a little bit. Why did you decide to shift gears a little bit and focus on this?
Yeah. So as you're right, Devin, I've been super fortunate to work with some incredible people and build some amazing technologies. My last company, I remember we crossed over delivering billions of text messages, and at one point we're delivering text messages every month to 1 out of 2 Americans. And you know, when you start something and it starts achieving that scale, you go, oh my gosh, what can I do that actually has more positive impact on the world? So there's a few moments prior to selling my last company where I really just kind of felt the next thing that I do has to use technology in a fundamentally different way than I've done before to create huge impact on the world. And one interesting customer of mine that I worked with for many years is Crisis Text Line. It's a real-time suicide prevention hotline that just exists via text messaging. They were a customer, and they're literally saving lives via text messaging. Another interesting example, I'm sure some folks watching remember 2010 when the Haiti disaster happens.
Mm-hmm.
You could donate via text messaging. $43 million was raised for the Red Cross. So I got really excited about using technology in a different way and bringing, frankly, some amazing folks. I brought almost, a third of, actually half of Pledgeling's team comes from my last 2 startups that we've grown and scaled. And we've all kind of united around this mission of let's take the best practices in technology. We know how to build things at scale and do something that's actually going to create huge impact on the world. Hopefully help a lot of great CEOs and business owners grow their business, but also have something that shows huge positive impact on the world. So those are a few examples.
Oh, that's great. I really appreciate you sharing that. Now, Victor, what is your superpower?
It's funny you asked that. I just took my team through their very belated Christmas present was I had them all turned into superheroes. And so as a result, I had to turn myself into a superhero. And then we had comic caricatures drawn of them, which was really fun. But yeah, I've actually had a nickname all the way back from my college days of being the luck vampire, which sounds kind of cheesy. But people have, at least my friends, have always said, God, you're really, really lucky. And my response back is actually, no, it's actually not luck. It's a bunch of very hard work. I think one thing that I do well is I think very long term about what the playing field looks like, and I will construct optionality that creates value downstream. That basically increases the probability of good things happening. And I think that very few people do that. People are very day to day. It's like, I'm going to go do A, then I'm going to go do B, and they don't think about, well, what if I put these 5 steps in? It may give me benefit 2 or 3 years down the line. I think that manifests ultimately in good things happening, but it shows up for a lot of people as, oh, you're really lucky.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. James, what about you? What's your superpower?
So I think my superpower is frankly finding a superpower in others. And, I've been, like I mentioned earlier, finding a group of people really digging into what makes them great, inspiring them and uniting them around a mission to kind of build a breakthrough piece of technology, a product, or a company that can change the world. I think that's my superpower. And hopefully with this superpower, we look at the world and we go, there's around $250 billion a year given to charity today by individuals. 80% of businesses do not have any kind of social impact or charitable giving program. So using technology, if we can unite enough business owners who want to do good and show the real business results, build an easy platform that's accessible for businesses of all types and helpful to nonprofits, we can create unbelievable impact in the world. So I need to find some more superheroes out there, but I'm blessed to work with a great team right now.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, I want to thank both of you for taking the time to be with us today. Before you go, James, why don't you tell us how people can learn more about Pledgeling and connect with you personally?
Yeah, so super easy. And, I always believe in eating your own dog food and kind of trying to showcase what you do. So for everyone watching, if you text the word James to the phone number 91065, again, the phone number is 91065, and the word James, once you text in, you will actually get a little video describing what Pledgeling is. And for everyone who clicks on that link, I'm going to personally make a social impact on your behalf. plant a tree, rescue adopt a pet, or donate on behalf of your favorite charity. And you can get all my contact information and learn more about what we do.
Fantastic. That's great, James. Thank you. And Victor, how do people learn more about Evite and connect with you?
So Evite, very simple. Go to www.evite.com, E-V-I-T-E. All the kind of the wonderful things that we've launched are there. We have mobile app as well on Android and iOS. For me personally, I actually have a personal website at victorcho.info, I-N-F-O. People can read all about kind of background. And more explicitly, I'm a big proponent of sharing knowledge, kind of providing a teachable point of view. So there's basically my entire leadership framework style, how I run strategy teams is all up there in public consumption mode. And if they need to reach me, email is the best for now, victor.cho, C-H-O, at evite.com.
Fantastic. Well, can't thank you enough, gentlemen, for taking the time to be with me today. Appreciate all of your insights and congratulate you on the success of your collaboration and wish you continued success in that effort to raise money for more charities.
No, thank you, Devin. It's been our pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, Devin. And for everyone who's watching, please consider trying out Evite donations for your next event.
All righty. Now let's do some good.
At the intersection of financial services and social media, Gate Global Impact, GGI, uses new market infrastructure to facilitate investments in organizations that deliver a societal, environmental, and/or a cause-related benefit in addition to a financial return. Seed Equity Ventures is a registered broker-dealer with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission and a member of both FINRA and SIPC, providing investment banking services to startups globally. Seed Equity's mission is to find the best and brightest entrepreneurs and connect them with global investors. Clean Energy Advisors creates investment opportunities in the renewable energy sector that provide clients with predictable income, preservation of capital, and positive impact. Clean Energy Advisors is committed to providing clients with investment opportunities with both market rates of return and measurable impact.
Thank you for listening. This podcast was recorded via Google Hangouts on Air and is available at youtube.com/Devin Thorpe. Subscribe to this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes by searching for Your Mark on the World. Every weekday, Devin hosts a CEO, celebrity, entrepreneur, or other changemaker here on the Your Mark on the World show to inspire and prepare you to make your mark. Devin is a champion of social good, writing about, advocating for, and advising people who are doing good. He is a Forbes contributor who is a recognized thought leader in social entrepreneurship, impact investing, and crowdfunding. To book Devin as a speaker, visit devinthorpe.com. Learn more about Devin's work at yourmarkontheworld.com.